Airwaves. What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support. And joining us is friend of the show, executive producer of the Laurence Holmes Show from noon to tune at 670. You can get it at 670 The Score at the radio app. Covers the Bulls better than anybody in the city. He's the EP of Behind the Headlines. And, of course, one of the best basketball podcasts you can listen to in no zones. He's the one and only Tony Gill. Tony, what's going on, my man?
What's up, man? Thanks a lot for having me back on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, and it's interesting that last time we had you on, we were getting ready for the playoffs, and we were talking about how this team was going to be after it drafted Kobe, and, you know, looking at what we've seen right now, this early on the season, what has been the biggest surprise for you that you didn't see coming when it came to after, you know, the summer and how this Bulls team shaped out leading into the beginning of the season?
How bad they be. I think that caught everybody off guard, considering the optimism that was at the beginning of the season. Everybody was healthy outside of, Chandler Hutchison. And this team seemed that it had, the veterans they brought in. It seemed like they were on the right path and making a step up. They put the playoff wording out there at the beginning of the season, which we were like, oh, really? You guys think you're ready for that?
Right.
I firmly disbelieved that they were going to make the playoffs, but for them to flatly say that's the goal this year, it really got people kind of on the, all right, let's see what you got. You got an easy schedule in the beginning of the season. Let's see how it works out. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And right out the gate lost to, one of the projected worst teams in the East. And then now the current record, it's not good. It is not good. And they managed to win in Atlanta last night on Wednesday. So that's all right. But again, Atlanta's down their second best player due to, a PED suspension.
Right.
They just got Trae Young back, who's coming off an injury. And Atlanta isn't all that great, especially at this early part of the season. So the most surprising thing is just how, this Bulls team hasn't taken advantage of the bad teams that they've been able to play. And also a bigger question is just the lack of consistency and growth from, one, Lauri Markkanen and Zach LaVine. It's been confusing to the Bulls fan and the Bulls watcher, that Lauri hasn't taken that step up and Zach LaVine hasn't been a more consistent player on both sides of the ball, because this is the year. The All-Star game's coming here. People are talking, one or two Bulls All-Stars this year, and they're on track to have zero because of how they're playing together as a team. So, yeah, just overall at this point in the season, the most surprising thing just has been how bad the Bulls have played so far.
And Tony, I think what you just said is my biggest problem with not only the Bulls, but the Bears is there was a lot of talking, a lot of puffing out of the chest for no reason, with no background for that. And one of the things that you pointed out was this playoff talk. Now, I'm with you. I don't know where they were getting 40-something wins, But the fact is, okay, you said it. All right, you're out there. You're talking about, you brought in Sadaratsky, and you're showing us with Thaddeus Young, and, Kobe looks like a nice little player. Okay, cool. Like you said, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But then we get games where you're supposed to win, like, I don't know, in New York, or you have these runs that you saw against the Lakers. And let's not even get started with this development. Tell me, how is it developing, Tony? You're pretty smart. You've seen this. How is it development? And when your team is surrounded, Kobe's part of the future, but why is he on the bench when the game is on the line? Why is Markkanen on the bench when the game is on the line? Who is this development problem falling to? Is it on the player, or is it strictly on the guy we all thought in Jim Boylan?
Well, it's on both. Jim Boylan, as the head coach, is in charge of the development of the players. But to a certain degree, the players have to take ownership of their performances as well. This is a pretty decent, team. They're not awful like they've been the last, couple of years. Mm-hmm. This is they're young. They're the second youngest team in the league, but in terms of experience in the league, these aren't, super young pups. In terms of the people that, play on a consistent basis, everybody has 3 years minimum of NBA experience. So they should know by now what they need to perform on a night-to-night basis. There shouldn't be, outside of, Kobe White, who's getting consistent minutes. Everybody else should know how this should go, by now. Everybody should know how much work they need and how much work they need to put in and how much rest they need to kind of perform on a consistent enough basis. And they just haven't done that. And, again, it goes both to the player and Jim. Jim has to put the players in position to win games every night. This new kind of, we're trying to develop things, this kind of new-ish in terms of rhetoric for this team, considering they started out, again, we mentioned before, yelling out playoffs. But playoff teams aren't developing. They're trying to win. Mm-hmm. They're trying to win as many games and get themselves in position to have a playoff run. And early on in the season, the Bulls hadn't been taking advantage of the softer schedule in the beginning, because after break, it's going to be rough for them.
Yeah.
Down the stretch where teams that are borderline playoff teams, which the Bulls hope that they can be at this point, they're not even borderline, but the Bulls hope that they can be in that conversation, they're going to have to win a bunch of tough games at L.A., at Miami. I mean, it's going to be a juggernaut down the stretch where at this point of the season, it gave you enough cushion to kind of boost up your record. So when those tougher games come, you can kind of sacrifice, a couple here and there in terms of the loss category. But the way it's shaping out, or how they're performing in the beginning of the season, it doesn't look very well going into that back end of that schedule. On top of that, they have to be healthy, in order to do this. I mean, we already see the minutes restrictions and the new injury with Otto Porter with his foot. We'll see how that goes. But it's not looking all that bright, in terms of a Bulls playoff run. They look more closely to a lottery team this year, which will be just completely crazy because of the onus that they put and the goals that they put on themselves to go from, we're going to fight for a playoff spot, to the Bulls end up with the 7th pick in the lottery again would be crazy considering the expectations. But development is on both the players and the coaching staff to put them in positions to grow.
And I said this kind of in passing, and I think I said it after this past Sunday game against Philadelphia with the Bears. There's a weird correlation with Lauri Markkanen and Mitchell Trubisky, where whether anybody wanted to say it or not, or anybody really wanted it to be true, the fact remains is I think Lauri Markkanen's development, or lack thereof, has hurt this team in so many ways that we can't, whether it's confidence from the front office, the coaching staff, whether they really thought that they found the next Dirk Nowitzki, which is crazy to have put on a kid coming out of Arizona, a 19-year-old out of Arizona. But when you think about all this stuff, and then you have somebody like Wendell Carter, who's just under the radar, that's a good young man right there who's a leader. How surprised have you been with Wendell's kind of development post-injury? Somebody we were all worried about when it comes to the injury bug, and where he kind of stands right now as the quote-unquote, the unofficial leader of this team, I
haven't been surprised by Wendell's demeanor and how he goes about his business, because we saw that last season when the room was quiet as they were going on this really bad losing streak. Wendell was speaking up. Even though he was a rookie last year, he certainly was one of the main people, if not the person, to kind of say, hey, we got to be better. We have to, come together as a team and stick together. And he's very introspective, about these things. He's very smart, and when he explains things, it's a sign of his maturity as even, going into his second year or so in the league. He's a very mature player, and he truly just cares about the winning. Last night, he only ended up with 2 points, but he played great defensively, and he fouled out yesterday, but he had a smile on his face because they were winning. Like, all he cares about is winning, and he's going to be, he wasn't voted a captain this year, but I got to think going forward after this season, he's going to be Joakim Noah-esque in terms of his impact on this team going forward, because of his leadership qualities, because of the work that he puts in, because of his outspokenness and trying to get things corrected as soon as possible so it can lead to more winning. I mean, he said it after the Lakers game. I got a chance to talk to him, and he was like, man, I'm coming from winning cultures in high school, in college. This is tough for him, losing games. And I can respect him being that honest about it bothers him, and it should bother him. It should bother the entire team, the way they've been losing games. So I'm thoroughly impressed, but not surprised by Wendell Carter's growth as a person first and as a young man, but also as a basketball player. His range defensively, his smart in terms of protecting the rim. His offensive game is going to come. It's going to come. He's still attempting those outside jumpers. They're not altogether falling just yet, but I think that he's going to be a solid player, not a superstar, but he'll be a real solid player for this team if he stays.
Well, and that's good. He stays healthy. He'll be able to make some nice money. And guys like that end up on teams that go for championships as their careers go on. So I'm with you. I like Wendell a lot. I think that's a nice fixture for the next, decade, hopefully, like you said, with, injuries. And before we move on, I think a little bit big picture for a few minutes while I still have you. How important is Satoransky to this team? Because the point guard position, and we know the guard position in general, has always been an interesting one with the last few years since Derrick Rose, essentially, who shot out. Was awesome to see him when he came in with Detroit. But, how important has that been, and how important is that going to be moving forward, that position in point guard specifically?
Well, it's been an issue for this organization for the last 2 years where they couldn't get consistent point guard play. So they adjusted in free agency and the draft. They allocated the resources to both those, spots to acquire talent to the point guard position, to add depth to that position. So, especially in today's NBA, it's crucial to make sure you have that position straight for as long as you can. Thomas Satoransky's breakout game against Atlanta is a huge bonus for this team because of the inability to have a strong point guard at that position for the last couple of years. That performance is definitely a great sign. What should be happening at that position. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get 27 every night, but the aggressiveness that Tomas showed last night should be how he plays for the rest of the year. No more uncertainty. Play your game. Be the leader on the floor. The point guard is the leader on the floor, on the court, that settles everything down, that recognizes mismatches to be taken advantage of. He has to be able to do that. He has to be able to take control of the team, say, hey, slow down. We got you. Let's go. Let's run something. Let's get into something. We're not playing hero ball. Let's work our offense. Let's do what we have to do to get things done. And he showed that in Atlanta. With his defensive effort as well. He's a big body. He's 6'7". He's long. And he can handle the rock. He can shoot the three. He does all these things, and we haven't really got a chance to see all those things until last night. So hopefully this is a good sign that he's ready to play ball, this year, and hopefully he can keep this going.
Tony Gill is one of the best we have in the city. He's the host of No Zones, executive producer of the Laurence Holmes Show, noon to 2 on 670 The Score and the radio.com app. Tony, what do you think about this minutes, just workloaded thing that's going on with Kawhi? I mean, obviously it worked out for Toronto, and it's a players' league. I think it's important. It's their body. I don't think you can have this arbitrary thing of NBA officials coming and be like, no, your hamstring's able to play. But with that being said, it's usually it's the red herring that when it's not China, it's this. What is your gut feeling about this? What's going to happen? Is the league going to do something about it? Are teams going to do it, or is it just going to be kind of one of those unwritten rules over the years because it's just one of those things?
It's difficult to dictate what goes on in someone else's body,
right?
And I think that's where the line is blurred. I completely understand that the league is an entertainment entity, and its duty is to entertain its fans throughout the season. And when star players aren't playing, it bugs the fans that want to watch them. So I 100% get that. But you have to kind of pick and choose what you want. Do you want this star player to play longer over the course of his, career? Or do you just want him to play these individual games back to back and shorten his career? Because that's what it is. That's the choice you have to make. And players are obviously choosing their bodies first. They want to be able to play at the highest level they can for as long as they can. By the time they get to the league, they've already played a lot of basketball. So they have these things available to them in terms of medical where they couldn't get it in high school and college. They're going to take advantage of taking care of their bodies. I mean, LeBron James being the prime example, spending $1 million on his body, every year, because that's his money make. That's what's going to keep the money flowing in. That's what's going to keep the interest in him, and he can be able to perform at the highest level. So, why? What I've read and what I've seen and talked to people that he has chronic issues with with his knees and stuff like that, and in order for him to make sure he's playing at the most important time in the playoffs and playing at the highest level at that time, this is what he feels he has to do to make sure he's prepared to win a championship. And that's also a big thing. Players are now, especially players on playoff-ready teams and championship-ready teams are putting premiums on, I need to win a championship. They've seen what happens to Golden State after their run, where everybody's body just kind of falls apart,
right?
Because of how grueling the season is. And guys see that. They saw what Kevin Durant went through, had an injury, came back, then injured himself again. Now he's out for this season. Guys don't want that to happen to them, so they're being extra careful and extra concerned about their bodies, and the teams that invest this type of money in these players should also be concerned about the health of it. And fans, if you have a player on your team that is going to lead you to a deep playoff run, why would you? What's a game on a Tuesday night versus a 7-game series, in May? So I get the day-to-day stuff that you want to see your favorite player, but if that player is going to make the playoffs anyway, regardless if he plays that one game or not, they want to be healthy enough when the lights are brightest that they can perform. Otherwise, the fans are going to jump on them anyway for not being physically ready.
Exactly.
Game when they gave you, the full season of games. So, yeah, I think fans just maybe need to adjust how they watch the game instead of just wanting to be, he needs to play every day. He needs to play every day. Instead no, just enjoy this player when they do play. Enjoy it for longer. How many years we would have, if load management was a thing in Jordan's day, how many more years of Jordan would we have been able to enjoy? How many more generations would have been able to physically see Jordan near or close to his prime if, load management was a thing? Or Iverson.
Steve Nash.
Derrick Rose or Steve Nash or we would have been able to enjoy our favorite players for much longer than what we got. So I think fans may just have to adjust how they view the NBA.
I think you could preach on that all day, brother. There's no other way to say it, and I'll be the guy that puts it on the table too. It's one thing because I don't know, what is the league mostly of powerful black men? It's interesting how we would have a problem with that, and this is the same people that would call them soft, and we're the ones that put the title expectations to them in the media, and yet we also expect them to play by our rules. But who is that for a black man and Hispanic man to talk about? What do we know, right? Tony Gill, I appreciate you, brother. Executive producer of the Laurence Holmes show from noon to 2 on 670 The Score. It's funny to hear him. Campy. Laurence is one of the best in the business. Obviously, if you watch the Bears, you see what he does there. And, of course, behind the headlines, I know you and Julie are working on the next season. That should be awesome. And, of course, for all Hoop Hype and all our Hoop heads, go to No Zones Pod over at the radio.com app. Tony, I appreciate you, brother. You're always one of our favorite people to have on.
No problem. Again, anytime reach out, we'll set it up. All right?
Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airwaves crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado2121. Mike is at Mike Mercado2333. And our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado21Alex. And Mike is at Mercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airwaves. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcast, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airwaves. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airwaves by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
Another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.